Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Waiver Wire live stream for week 2. I almost didn't know how to say it. I was so excited. The Waiver Wire week 2 live stream. Derek Brown and I are here to answer all your questions, who to add, who to drop. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Fantasy Pros on our YouTube side. Click that little bell till it goes ding. You love it. And like the stream. We're hanging out here. We're talking Waiver Wire. Certainly a lot of overreactions to week 1, a lot of things going on, and a lot of injuries as well. Derek Brown, that's the big thing. The injury bug finally did bite. We were waiting and wondering, boy, preseason's been awful quiet. But guess what? Not so much anymore. So, Derek Brown, I assume you were working the waiver wire pretty hard yourself today as well.
Oh, of course, Joe. I mean, look, we had a lot of hits and misses through week 1, a lot of injuries, some big players, and everybody's worried about some other players that just no-showed in week 1, like Mike Williams. So
Mike
we're all
Williams.
kind of like looking through the waiver wire to find out how are we going to plug these lineups, man.
Well, I think that you're courageous and brave and strong for coming in today and just coming to work after Cortland Sutton's game last night. So I just want to put that out there for you as well.
Don't start.
And now the show's begun, folks. Now the show's begun. This is why you're hanging out with us and watching. So we're going to go through Derek Brown's favorite waiver wire pickups of the week. We're going to take all of your questions as well. Before we do, I want to remind everybody also to use the My Playbook tool. It's there. My Playbook at Fantasy Pros is the tool suite for you. It's got the most powerful tools you'll ever see in the industry to help you make better decisions, manage your lineups, and most importantly, win your leagues. That's what we're here for. We're here to win. We're here to dominate. That's what we're trying to do. And it's created by Fantasy Pros, the #1 fantasy sports advice and tools provider in the world. And this app will let you import your team to get custom fantasy football news, rankings, and analysis. So sync your leagues today at fantasypros.com/myplaybook. Again, that's fantasypros.com/myplaybook, or download directly from the Apple or Android store as well. And look, we've got the waiver wire assistant there on My Playbook as well to help you guys out. We got the trade analyzer, so many incredible tools. Speaking of tools, let's get back to Derek Brown. Let's talk to you about some of your favorite waiver wire ads of the week, D-Bro. Who's at the very top of your list if they're still out there floating around on the wire?
Yeah, so I mean, I've talked about this with Charch. I mean, the top 5 for me has not changed at all. It's Jeff Wilson's #1. If you want to go, Brian Robinson talked about both of them yesterday on the pod. I mean, for Jeff Wilson, I mean, the case is easy, man. He's a top 24 running back without Eli Mitchell, and now we're hearing it's gonna be 2 months. It could be even longer. Like you're talking about, Jeff, like that's half of the fantasy regular season, maybe more. So yes, I think you should be bidding aggressively on Jeff Wilson. He's the #1 guy. But #2 is Brad Robinson. #3, I do not believe in the Pittsburgh Steelers. They are full of crap. I don't believe that Najee Harris is 100% right now. So yes, all the things in the pod. We talked about bidding aggressively for Jaylen Warren. It is the same freaking bet as Alexander Mattison. So you drafted one of those guys in the 3rd, not the 3rd, the 10th round, 9th round of your drafts. Why would you not spend fab to get the same type of guy on a 3-down workload? And everybody considering crap on the Pittsburgh offensive line. I'm not telling you it's good, but 17 to 20 touches, all the pass routes, and any offense is going to be good because volume is what is king in fantasy for running backs. Rounding out the top 5, again, Jarvis Landry, DJ Chark, wide receiver 3 types with a little bit more upside considering some cornerback matchups upcoming. And yes, you could throw Curtis Samuel in there. I talked about him yesterday. Discount Deebo Samuel, baby. So even with a Carson Wentz-led offense, you're going to give me a handful of rushing attempts out of the backfield as well as short area targets. So PPR leagues, we're getting just cheap layup points. I'm here for that.
Yeah, my top 5 is pretty similar to yours. I still have Brian Robinson at the top because I still think best long-term option that's out there can really help your team contribute as time goes on. I've got Palmer because I think it's a really good matchup, and Landry up at the top as well. Jeffrey Wilson Jr. is up there for me. Curtis Samuel, Warren, all those guys are very close. I think DJ Chark is somebody too that I believe this player is going to be utilized more often than people realize. I don't think this was a week 1 fluke necessarily. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. But to me, it doesn't feel like that right now. But Wilson to me is the most intriguing, especially for the next month or so, because we're always looking for guys who can come in and help us at RB, right? If you have David Montgomery, you didn't like what you saw. If you have a couple RBs, you don't like what you saw. But Jeffrey Wilson Jr. has been in this offense. He's had success in this offense. He's not a world beater, but neither is Eli Mitchell. Let's be honest. And he's going to have touchdown equity. That's what I want. I want the RBs that score touchdowns. Yes, Trey Lance is there. I'm not taking too much out of what I saw in the rain in week 1 against the Chicago Bears. I'm going to make some heavy investments. And I told you yesterday on the pod, I already made investments in Jeffrey Wilson before this, trying to be ahead of the curve. And I want to encourage everybody also, take a look at what's going on. Make some good choices this week that might be ahead of the curve for week 3. So listen to what's going on. If Jaylen Warren somehow doesn't get picked up in your league and he's still floating out there because people just went, oh no, Najee's fine, I'm not going to waste it. Go pick him up for free, right, D-Bro? Pick him up for free because you know that's going to happen in some leagues. You know it.
So here's the problem, Joe, and why I say Pittsburgh is full of crap. They're like, oh, Najee's fine. His tests come back negative. Then tell me, if everything was fine with him, why was he not out there for overtime? When the game is on the line and he is on the sidelines and Jaylen Warren is taking every snap? Please, Mike Tomlin. Please, Pittsburgh front office. Please tell me, if he's totally fine, why did that happen? I'm sorry. I call BS, man.
All right, let's get to some of your questions. Let's start with Kenneth Moore. I have Zeke thinking of trading Jamal Williams for Tony Pollard. Your thoughts on this one? You want to go ahead and acquire Tony Pollard? I think you do it even with the downgrade at QB. But, D-Bro, what do you think?
I think you do it. I mean, that's fine with me. I mean, look, I think Dallas is going to have to run through this backfield. Cooper Rush he's god-awful. He's terrible.
Yeah,
so,
he's a below-average replacement. I'm glad you said that because I want everybody to know this is not we're pivoting to Teddy Bridgewater. We're pivoting to Case Keenum. Yep. Like, this is not that pivot. And I don't think people quite grasp that.
Nope. And it's going to be reflected in my ranks. I already started my first pass through week 2 ranks. CeeDee Lamb is probably going to end up somewhere in the wide receiver 3 territory. And people could be shocked by that. But if you watched any of the preseason over the last 2 years, Cooper Rush is that bad. Target volume might vault him a little bit higher. But again, going back to it, Cooper Rush is not good, so could we see more checkdowns for Tony Pollard in an offense where, I'm sorry, they couldn't run the ball in week 1, all the Dak being out and stuff. Why did they not check the ball down to Tony Pollard? We keep going with this song and dance, Joe, so we know the talent that Pollard presents. I would be fine trading for him.
Pollard just looks so much better running the football too. I mean, he's just so much more explosive at this point. I mean, I'm just getting a little tired and sick of it. Look, this is a move you make. Even if it hurts you a little bit for the next couple weeks, you make this move now if you can. I'm in 100% agreement there on this one. All right, let's go to the next one here. Frank Garcia wants to know, who should I pick up off waivers, Curtis Samuel or Johan Dotson? 2 guys for the Commanders. Look, Dotson certainly had his moments in that game. We love the talent here. But is Curtis Samuel the guy that can help you from a weekly fantasy perspective more than Dotson?
Yeah, we discussed this with Charge, man. I'll put Samuel over Dotson, and it's really easy. I mean, we're talking about the 3rd, 4th option maybe in a Carson Wentz-led offense, except one of these options gets rushing attempts on top of his target volume. And one of these options also secured more targets in week 1. I don't care about the double tutty game. I don't care about 2 touchdowns. It's so fluky. I'm not chasing that. I want usage, and I want standalone value that if Carson Wentz sucks, can Curtis Samuel get there with the rushing attempts on the ground? It's easy Samuel over Dotson for me.
You know, I want to go back 1 second to the CeeDee Lamb conversation because we just wrapped the buy low, sell high pod, which was great. Kyle Richardson from Fantasy Headliners joined us for that. We had a great discussion because one of the ones I threw out to the guys was CeeDee Lamb or DK Metcalf in a trade. Who would you rather have rest of season? And that was a very interesting topic. I don't want to tell you what the results are. I'm going to let everybody go listen to the pod, but I want to hear your take. And I think your pause is interesting because Kyle had a very long pause, and I said, I'm fascinated by how long the pause is. So go ahead, D-Bro. You had some time to think about that. DK or CeeDee Lamb, who would you rather have right now on that side of a trade?
I'm still going to go CeeDee Lamb just because I think his weekly target volume is higher. I think quarterback play outside of Geno Smith looking like the Monday Night Football god last night. Outside of that, I think that we're looking at pretty similar type of quarterback play. I mean, obviously, I think Geno is maybe a tad bit higher. But again, I think the weekly target volume is going to be a skosh higher for CeeDee Lamb, and I'll just chase the volume.
Fair enough. One question too. Someone asked me on Twitter. No, he said nobody's talking about Zack Moss, and I can understand why. But he did get some work in
I can
that
see
game.
why.
I want to throw this out there on the waiver wire. Should anybody be thinking about Zack Moss? Because it is fair. We didn't mention on the pod yesterday. I haven't seen any coverage on it. Why shouldn't we talking about him?
It's cheap checkdowns. I mean, and he was inefficient in the volume that they gave
Mhm.
him. So I still look. I know James Cook fumbled his first opportunity literally in this offense, but I still think he's easily hands down the better player than Zack Moss. And if we see, like the Bills are saying, we want a passing down role, I I do not believe that Zack Moss is going to be efficient enough as a pass catcher to hold that role. I think we're just looking at a matter of time before James Cook usurps him in that.
Let's get to Michael Sullivan's question. I have Dalvin Cook in one league and Alexander Mattison on my bench for when he inevitably misses time. At least Michael's a realist. I have the first waiver wire priority. Do I drop Mattison for Henderson? This one's very dicey to me because I feel like this is, you drafted Mattison for that reason. Is Henderson enough of a needle mover for you to drop that insurance policy of Mattison?
I would. Yeah. I mean, you're holding a lottery ticket, and especially like, and this also comes down to, we didn't get clarity here, but if you have fab and things like that, I mean, you can always go back to the wire and possibly grab Mattison. I mean, maybe somebody scoops him up, but they probably are dropping him in the next few weeks when we get to bye weeks
Right.
anyway. So I don't think it's the last hurrah for Mattison on your team, and he could easily just stay out there in waivers. Why would you not? And yes, I'll own the L for Cam Akers because I didn't see that coming. Nobody saw that coming. So if you're out there saying that you did, you're lying. But why would we not be grabbing an RB2 off the waiver wire, considering the usage that Henderson got in week one? If that
Mhm.
continues, there's no way in hell I'm holding a lottery ticket handcuff over a every down RB2 in any league.
If it doesn't hold week over week, I mean, this was another conversation we just had on the pod, with Cam Akers. The Rams lost bad. They
Mhm.
look terrible. If you are Sean McVay, you go back and you say, okay, what were the things we didn't do in this game? Well, we didn't throw the ball enough to Allen Robinson, maybe. We didn't get Cam Akers the ball in his hands enough. So if that usage should go backward a little bit for Henderson, is this a move then you immediately regret? Like, are you better off going with some other wide receiver necessarily than another running back in this instance?
No, I think you grab Henderson, and I'm not a huge believer in Henderson, but I think the move, Joe, is you
Mhm.
grab Henderson and you sell him off as the RB2, as an RB2 target or the
Mhm.
workhorse on that team. And if you don't believe in Henderson like I don't, then what you do is you package him with another running back or wide receiver and you go upgrade a position, get
There you
out from
go.
under Henderson. Like that's the move.
That's it. That's the move. I like that move. Matt Farley's got a move. Would you drop Rachaad White or Zamir White for Jeff Wilson or Tyrion Davis Price? So we've got the Rachaad White, Zamir White, and then TDP and Jeff Wilson on the waiver wire. How do you attack this?
I would drop both of them. I would drop both of them for
And just go
TDP
after
and
San Fran's backfield, just try to attack it
yep.
all.
Yep.
That's
If
fair.
you
I would
garner
agree.
both of them, we know production is going to come out of that backfield. We know production is going to come out of that backfield. So why not gobble up both and just say, look, it's going to figure itself out on my roster?
Andrew P wants to know Julio Jones or Curtis Samuel, full PPR off waivers. This one's not close for me. I'm in
No,
team
it's not
Julio
close.
here. Okay.
Julio. Easy
Andrew
Julio.
P, go get Julio, especially for this week, too. It's another good matchup. Ryan McGrogan wants to know, have Kittle and Cox, would like to not have Cox? Is Taysom Hill the way to go? So would you rather have Taysom Hill off of what you saw week one, or would you rather have Mo-Alie Cox and kind of trust the process a little bit more?
I would actually say don't go after Taysom and drop Mo-Alie Cox. That his usage was not there. I was looking at his usage, wrote this up in the waiver wire column. His routes per dropback were not there. Granderson actually out snapped him and outran more routes than him.
Mm,
I think there are better streaming options on the waiver wire. Hell, even if you were to go with somebody like Tyler Conklin, I would still rather have him over going with Taysom, who still played a bit role and is not massive into this offense, and Mo-Alie Cox, who we thought there was going to be a guy in Indy come out and run all the routes and things like that. It just wasn't Mo-Alie Cox. So no, I'm not holding him on my team.
Now, if you're watching here, make sure you like the stream because we like you and we're happy to be here talking football with you. And because we're just cool, we like to give away free stuff here. So, how about we give away a DJ Moore autographed jersey, Carolina Panthers' own wide
Ooh.
receiver extraordinaire DJ Moore. Of courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com. What you need to be is a subscriber of our YouTube channel at Fantasy Pros, so make sure you subscribe. You got to comment below on this video. That's real easy to do because you're asking for help. We want to help you. It's a win-win situation for everybody, so go ahead, drop a comment. That's it. Subscribe, comment, click the bell for notifications, and we'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. So make sure you have the notifications turned on so you know if you're the winner, because we want to give away this DJ Moore jersey. So go check it out. Go subscribe. Go drop a comment. Let's talk some football. Let's give away some free stuff. My goodness, what a wonderful time to be alive. Ironic Fate wants to know, is Davis Mills the real pickup at QB this week? So Davis Mills had a good game. I know we talked about him yesterday. Charch loved him. I just can't get there still.
Nope.
I would rather have the Matt Ryans of the world. D-Bro's already shaking his head, so tell me why.
Why do we want a pocket passer on one of the worst offenses in the league? No, I don't want any of that action. I mean, look, Joe, we were going to talk about this yesterday. I wanted to bring up his name. I'll do it here. I know that you do not like this quarterback, but you have to give me some credence here. Marcus Mariota ran 12 times in the first week of the season. He looked good under center. He's got some good matchups coming up. And even regardless, if he's going to run that much every single week, he's going to have upside. I'd rather take the wheels of Marcus Mariota with the pass catchers of Drake London and Kyle Pitts over a pocket passer who legit, like, even if he throws for 300 yards and multiple touchdowns, is he still going to get into the top 12? Possibly top 15, even considering the slew of other quarterbacks that could put up that exact production? Probably not.
I love you, D, with all my heart. No. Nope.
I know you were going to give
Aaron
me a no,
Donald
but
is going to sit on Marcus Mariota this week. He is going to sit on top of him and say, hey, remember me? I'm Aaron Donald. We're the champs. We just got our butt kicked. And look,
as long as he
we're
keeps
home
his
again.
helmet on his head, I think we're okay though.
I'm just saying, he is literally, I mean, it is going, and then after that, look, you're right. I mean, he's going against Seattle. We can talk about that all we want. Cleveland is a tough defense. Tampa's a tough defense. San Francisco is a tough defense. Like, Marcus Mariota better have his legs on because he needs to be running for his life, I think, potentially. He will. But I think you can run for your life a little bit more, especially from a defense that doesn't have Shaquille Leonard healthy, as opposed to a defense that's got Aaron Donald healthy. And did we watch Dak Prescott try to deal with the Tampa Bay front? Do we watch like some of the? I'm just saying, you're looking at the schedule, and I'm looking at San Fran, I'm looking at Tampa, I'm looking at the Rams. Marcus Mariota, if you're in a Superflex league and he had 20 points, which he probably did with that rushing touchdown, sell. Go give me Jared Goff in a second. I'll take the Jared Goff all day long. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Glad you're still here. All right, let's go to Greg Jeezy or Jesse. I like Young Jeezy. By the way, why is every rapper Lil or Young? Like, why is that? I'm old now.
Because they're not tall and they're not old, Joe. This doesn't have to be hard.
But eventually they'll be old. Like when they go on the tribute shows, like it's the 25th anniversary of.
Okay, then it's old Jeezy.
Does it? That's what I mean. Like, when does it convert from young to old in the rap game? I got to find these things out. I need to know this.
Snoop Dogg still looks pretty young to me.
Yeah, but he doesn't call himself. He
actually looks younger than me.
He doesn't call himself Young Snoop. He just called himself Snoop Dogg. All right, Dr. Dre.
He never went with Lil or Young though. Like that.
Lil, like what happens when you're all grown up? I don't know. Let's go to Greg Jesse here. Drop Tolbert, pick up Samuel, Burkhead, or Robbie Anderson. So Anderson certainly came off a good game. Rex Burkhead got a lot of attention, and Curtis Samuel looked good. So I would drop Tolbert for any of these guys. But what's the order here? What's the order? Is it Anderson, Samuel, Burkhead?
It's Samuel, Burkhead, Anderson, because after 1 week and Robbie broke off a long reception, I'm not willing to say that he's all of a sudden back. I'll take the running back usage over Dusty Robbie Anderson.
All right, let's go to Sia Sunwall. Thoughts on Darrell Henderson? We kind of touched on Darrell Henderson, but real quick, if you have Darrell Henderson in a league right now, I think what D-Bro was saying is you package him with something else and improve somewhere else and just get out of the headache. You're not trying to acquire more Cam Akers and just like, let's make this headache bigger. Just try to move on with it if you can right now. And we gave you some of those targets. And look, we even talked about the buy sell pod just finished recording. It'll be out probably later today. We talked about Darrell Henderson, what to do with that Cam Akers situation quite a bit.
I got one for you, Joe.
Oh, go ahead. Do it.
Henderson for Big Mike Williams. I think that's a trade you
Oh,
could pull off. Would you do it? I would in a heartbeat.
What? That's available? That should never be
I mean,
available. That trade.
seriously though, like people saw Mike Williams whiff in week 1. The reaction season is real.
Do they
and
know
the
he's
knee-jerk
playing
season
the
is real.
Chiefs this week on Thursday? Do
He
people know this?
destroyed them in one of
Do
their
you
two
remember what
matchups.
happened last time that happened in week 17, was
Mhm.
it? If memory serves.
He destroyed them in the early part of the year. I think it was like week 3, week 4. I just finished writing that game.
Didn't
up,
he
so it's
destroy
fresh
them
in
the second
memory.
time too? If memory serves.
No, he didn't. But he did get 9 targets versus them in both meetings.
Okay, I would just remember the first one. Okay.
This all comes down to
Come on,
the
dude.
ceiling is still definitively there for Big Mike, and if people are going to overreact and sell and all this other kind of stuff, go get rid of Henderson and go after Mike Williams.
Ferocious Light wants to know, should I drop Cole Kmet? And if so, what tight end should I target on waivers? I don't think you should, because looking at them, what are you going to do? Drop him for Noah Fant or Gerald Everett? Like, that's
Joe,
crazy.
we talked about it on the Start Sit show. I told everybody he was going to have a terrible game. I told everybody to sit him. Did nobody listen? We got all kinds of questions on Discord and everything. What do I do with Cole Kmet? I told you he was going to suck in week 1. Why are you surprised?
The problem is, guys like Irv Smith didn't do much better. So ZV Alex wants to know, do I drop Irv Smith for waiver wire Jeff Wilson or Devin Duvernay?
Yes. Not Duvernay.
For Jeff Wilson, yes.
Yes.
For Duvernay, I don't know, man, because this week too,
he's a trap. I'm telling you, he's a trap.
You're not wrong. It's not like Devin Duvernay is going to change the universe here at any given point, but I will say, the next couple weeks, the number 1 corners of Miami, right, New England, Buffalo, like Rachaad Bateman has a tough slog ahead of him. I think the next couple weeks, I think Duvernay has a little bit more appeal. Just put it than people realize. I'm not saying he's gonna have 2 touchdowns and 17 points again. Like that's not realistic either. But I think he's got more appeal than other people realize. That's the only thing I'll say.
My problem with Duvernay is his numbers, his box score looks good. His usage was terrible. Like his route participation was bad. This is all fluke. Like for me, like I want the underlying usage metrics to match the box score in the sense of like how much are you on the field, how often are you running routes, and it's like there's so many traps right now on the waiver wire where people, if they're point chasing, I feel like they're going to be dropping these guys in the next 2 weeks. The 2 clearest guys on the top of that list on the usage is crap, don't chase the scores, are Duvernay and OJ Howard. Brevin Jordan was the full-time tight end. Brevin Jordan ran full-time routes, all that type of stuff. The OJ Howard stuff is total smoke. Do not chase it. I don't care. Don't chase it.
I didn't think I'd wake up this morning and defend the honor of Devin Duvernay. I did not see that coming.
I know, really. I didn't think you were going to be pro Duvernay out here.
It's not that, but when I looked at him this week, I was looking at the corner matches coming up. I was like, man, it's like Bateman might be one of these guys that we start buying low on now, like or maybe one more week, because after that it gets better. But these next couple weeks, 3 out of the 4, there's some tough corner. You know,
could you see people drop Bateman? Do you think that's going to happen? Like people overreact and they drop Bateman in 2 weeks?
Here's the thing.
I think it's possible.
There's a chance that after Baltimore plays, let's bring up the schedule here real quick for them too and talk about it. Because after Baltimore goes ahead and has Miami this week, then he's got to play the number 1 quarter in New England, which again we could talk about that. But Buffalo secondary looked electric against the Rams. Then things open up a little bit because you're going to get the Giants, then you're going to get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then, of course, second half of the season opens up a lot more. You're going to get the Atlanta game. You're going to get Jacksonville. You're going to get a lot there, Carolina. So it's one of those things where if he gets off to a slow start, he's definitely a buy, and maybe he does get dropped in some leagues if he doesn't really hit the ground running soon. Connor Brennan, should I drop P. Ryan for Brian Robinson in a deep 16-team league? Absolutely, yes, in my opinion. I don't even know how he's available in a 16-team league. Just because a guy gets shot, you're going to drop him? Come on. What are you doing here? Come on. I mean, by the way, here's a question for you. I saw him. He's on the board for comeback player of the year, even though he's never played down in the NFL.
Ooh.
I put some money on this. I know this is not PP.
What's the odds at, Joe? Do you remember?
I think it was 6 or 8 to 1 when I put it on. It was one of the 2.
Yeah. I would be laying some quiche on that. Yeah, agreed.
Here's your high ankle sprain, and I'll raise you I got shot in the leg twice, and now I'm playing football in week 5.
The narrative's easy to craft, man. Like, he comes back, takes over the starting role. The Commanders are better than what we think they are. I mean, maybe week 1 was not just a total fluke. If they're better, I mean, we're talking about the NFC kind of looks like a freaking mess right now, man. Like, could they grab a wild card spot if all the stars align? Maybe. I mean, the narrative's easy to see as far as that paying off. So I'm
Speaking
with
of
you.
narratives, the other thing I threw out there too to Scott Bachman yesterday before we were doing the Monday Night Football live stream, which by the way, we do all these things. So we do a little live stream before the games happen in the afternoon for the primetime games. And, we were talking off air about, TJ Watt and Micah Parsons. And I said, look, the perfect storm just happened for Micah Parsons for Defensive Player of the Year too, because they're going to be on the field a whole lot more. Those tackle numbers are going to get higher than normal, all these things because Cooper Rush has taken over the offense, and now TJ Watt's missing significant time in the season. I don't care how much time it is. It's time he's missing for sure. So just saying, that's out there too, boys and girls. Go check it out. This is full surface here. And if you haven't, go subscribe to Betting Pros because we got some great content over there. Let's do another one here. Catfish wants to know, what do we do with the Patriots backfield? I have Stevenson and Harris. I think you just hold and you wait it out. You got to. You got to hold.
You're not getting anything in trades. You don't want to release them because if this narrows and it goes to because it's a three-way backfield right now. If it goes to two ways, we know what this looks like. And as long as the Patriots offense can rebound and not look like total garbage the rest of the season, we're going to get productivity out of these guys.
Is Stevenson the best weapon in the Patriots offense? Theoretically.
Easy. Yes.
Okay.
He is.
If that's the case, everybody, I guarantee you can buy some Ramondre Stevenson very low this week. And I think you should go after that. I really do. In fact, I think that was Erickson's number one buy low RB, but of course he's a Patriot guy, so you got to take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I mean you got to consider.
And so am I.
I'm just kidding. I was fixing to say, consider the sources here.
You know what? But Bogman always says, "I hate you, Joe, because you're the most realistic Patriot fan ever." And I said, "I know, because I'm also a Mets fan, so I know what pain and suffering is.
Oof.
So I've been humbled in life. So I look at the Patriots with a very, I would say keen eye of things where I don't get too up or down or stuff. Where I get it." And I'm realistic about when they're good and when they're not. Just like I told you, Miami would beat them. You used the word crush, though. Was that crush?
They did, though, didn't they?
It felt like mistakes. Look, Miami took advantage of some stupid mistakes, but I feel like Miami was just like so much better than them. That's what I came away.
Kind of crushed them.
You think crush? All right, we'll see. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go to Batmac Gaming. Batmac Gaming wants to know, if I have the number one waiver wire, should I wait until a big injury on my roster or use it now? I would be using it now, don't you? I mean,
the big injury just happened. Elijah Mitchell's out for 2 months.
Yeah, all right. Look,
update.
What are we waiting for?
You got out on the waiver wire. I mean, yeah, if you missed the headlines, here they are.
I don't get that. Like, it's now. The time is now. Live in the now, man. Let's go to fantasy.
Want to hold the fab, and I don't get it. It's like, if I got all this money in my piggy bank, it's really nice, huh? Spend the fab. That's what it's there for.
I look at fab as like the first 6 weeks of the season, really. I'm trying my best that if there's something there that I can acquire it. Again, it's not for free because it's cost me money, but I'm not giving up talent on my starting roster to do it. I'm going to try to do it because what happens by the time we hit week 6 anyway? If my team is good, then I'm in a good situation to make the playoffs. If my team is bad, then what the hell am I doing here? I sit in all this fab and I don't have game-changing guys necessarily. I'm going to be aggressive. I don't want to go crazy, but I certainly want to be aggressive at the same time. Let's go to...
I definitely agree. People hold the fab like Nathaniel Hackett holds timeouts. It's really bad.
Too soon? Too soon?
No, that's appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, really, you're going to pay that guy that much money. I think fourth and 5, you go for it. I mean...
So bad, man.
Especially after you miss it the first time.
I'm sorry, Bronco fans. I'm sorry.
Let's ride. Batman. It never gets old.
It doesn't.
I mean, it's only week 2. But you got to whisper it. You can't say let's ride. You got to, let's ride. You got to do it like that. Fantasy football wannabe. With Dak's injury, should I stick with Schultz or start streaming the tight end position? Now, this is a real issue because a lot of people ask. I've gotten a lot of Dalton Schultz questions. Here's the thing. If it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks, I would have some insurance. If there's a couple matchups that you like at tight end D, I can understand maybe adding somebody, but I don't want to drop Schultz to do it because I think low end Schultz is better than probably on the waiver wire anyway. Do you see it differently or you agree?
No, I totally agree. I mean, you're holding Schultz. If nothing else, he's going to get easy check down targets. PPR leagues, he's going to rack up targets and things of that nature. They're still going to have to throw the ball. So, yeah, no, I'm not dropping Dalton Schultz. Now, if you wanted to, like, drop another into the bench player, and stream the position. Go with the Gerald Everett in a shootout this week. Go with a Hayden Hurst with T. Higgins out. I get that, but I'm not all about dropping Dalton Schultz. I'm not doing that move in any league.
Bob has a question. Just Bob.
Okay, Bob.
No numbers, no nothing. Just Bob. Not even just Bob.
That.
Bob. Drop James Cook? ? I mean, at this point, we laid out some of these guys. I mean, there's a lot of guys right now, week 1, that can help you, not just for week 2, but could help you for a month potentially. I don't know if James Cook can help you this month. I would be dropping him for Jeffrey Wilson Jr., wouldn't you?
I would drop him for the top 3 guys at the running back position that I've laid out. I would drop him for Jeff Wilson. I'd drop him for B-Rob. I would drop him for Jaylen Warren. All 3
Landry?
of those guys I would drop.
What about Landry, Palmer, Chark?
Yeah, those top 3, 4 wide receivers. Kind of, if you were to go Landry, Chark, trying to remember who's number 3. Palmer, you could drop him for that, or you could drop him for Curtis Samuel. That's probably where my line of demarcation kind of stops. Maybe Dotson.
So like
kind
the
of
Shepard. I was gonna say Dotson, Shepard, Garrett Wilson next year.
Like if I got the room or I'm okay at wide receiver, then maybe I hold on to James Cook. Because again, I don't think Zack Moss holds that role. Now the question is, how long does he hold it? Like he's going to have to play bad, and they're going to have to give him a long enough stretch to show that he's not going to hold the role. So yeah, it's not like James Cook's going to have value probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Fair enough. Andrew Pacino wants to know Julio or Curtis Samuel in the full PPR. D-bro?
Julio.
Easy Julio. 2 for 2. Julio. Come on. I mean, that was not quite a bro, but we're getting to bro territory. I don't want to get there today, folks. Don't put us there. Dave GB, drop Pat Freiermuth for Gerald Everett. I say no to this. I'm not doing this. I know everybody loves the Everett, but you know what? This is one of the everybody loves the backup quarterback. like just because the tight end's on the waiver wire, I don't know if he's gonna be better than Freiermuth, but I say no. It's okay if you say yes.
Yes, I say yes. I mean, one's a Justin Herbert led offense, and one is led by Mitch Trubisky. Do we need better context than that? John?
No, but I mean, I don't know. We just saw so many different options that they used as well, too. Like that's the thing. That was what's so infuriating about that game, is that like even when Keenan Allen got hurt, we thought, okay, maybe this is the Mike Williams time. No, like here's a bunch of other guys that you never heard of touching the football. Matt B, would you drop Patriots D for the Steelers or Dolphins? I think that Dolphins D is a very good one.
Yeah, either one of them. I put Dolphins.
I'm a tough sell adding the Steelers defense right now without Watt, and I'll tell you why, because the extra numbers for the sacks come from Watt. Like the Steelers defense value, and this is the D guy here talking to you here. The value for the Steelers D comes from Watt and those extra points he gets you for the sacks a couple times a game. I don't know if that's going to happen now. And when you take him out there, it becomes much easier to game plan. With TJ Watt's out there, I mean that's a stunning player to have to game plan and figure out how you're going to block that guy when he's not there.
Well, and I think losing Watt, like the Steelers probably become or remain a better real life defense than they are in fantasy.
Exactly my point. Right. You're losing some of the fantasy. So now you have to rely on the Minkah Fitzpatrick interceptions, which interceptions are not. You want to look for defenses that create turnovers and get penetration in the backfield. They get out there, get those tackles for losses, get all those moments where you get out there and they can make things happen and then create those turnovers, or get pressure on the quarterback to make them make mistakes. When you take TJ Watt out of there, all of a sudden you don't have that pressure, which probably doesn't lead to more Minkah Fitzpatrick things. See, it's like a downward spiral, I feel like. So I would go with Miami here of these two. Nick Forbush, is now the time to sell DeAndre Swift high. Nick, no. This is good. He's a good player. No.
Why would you? No. Why would you do that? Like, no.
Pretty
Jamal Williams got the goal line carries, but DeAndre Swift got everything else.
Come on, it's fine. I mean, Jamal Williams is a nice guy. You want to give him a couple touchdowns. Everybody loves Jamal Williams. He's a lovable human being. Pretty aight. Should we be panicking about David Montgomery? Yes. But what were we doing here for the last 2 months?
You should have been panicking before week 1 got here.
It's like standing up and looking at the sky and saying, Derek, look at these clouds. It looks like it's going to rain. And then you and I stand there and go, yes, look, it's pouring. Should we get an umbrella? I don't know, Derek. I mean, this water that's falling on my face, it does feel kind of wet.
I do hear
Maybe,
some
just
thunder.
maybe,
There
we should
might be
go for it.
lightning. Maybe not the umbrella, but it's definitely time to go inside.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. Panicking about David Montgomery and doing something about it, that's two different things. We talked
Yeah.
about a couple guys. James Robinson was one of them. Would you rather have James Robinson or David Montgomery rest of the season?
James Robinson.
I don't
That's
disagree.
crazy to say.
I know.
I mean, it's crazy to say,
He
but
looked pretty aight, so to speak.
he did.
Which is our person asking. I
got you. I saw what you did.
live to get Chris to shake his head during a live stream at me where he is just.
I like to
he's
just
like,
see
"You're
when
the
he
biggest
smirks, but
dork."
when he shakes his head, it's even, especially after a Joeism, it's even better.
Embarrassing Chris is like the only joy that I have left in life. Like, that's it. It's just embarrassing Chris. So I love you, Chris. Kama Krupp wants to know Jeff Wilson or Darrell Henderson. This one's not close for me, but maybe it's closer for you. I know my answer. What's yours?
It's Henderson for me.
Really? Man, I'm
It's
all in on the San Fran. I'm all in on Jeffrey Wilson. What's wrong with me?
I like Jeff Wilson a lot, but again, I think that the move is you don't parse between the two of these. You drop your kicker or defense, you pick up Wilson, and you trade Henderson. That's the move.
Okay, agreed. So we gave you the comma that we told you what to do, but let's have the bigger conversation. Do we really think some dude no one's ever heard of and Tyrion Davis-Price are all of a sudden going to get a ton of work in this backfield in week 2? Because I don't.
Twitter does. I don't.
I mean, Twitter's stupid.
Yeah.
Frazier
all the
Patterson.
comments when I said about Jeff Wilson out there, Joe, said, man, you're wrong. I think it's going to be Mason. And I'm like, okay.
And look, if it is, fine. I'll accept that. I accept the chaos that is Kyle Shanahan. Like, I have to accept it. We all have to accept it. But I'm not going to.
Unless Jeff Wilson gets hurt, he's going to be the lead back. Like, that's what the team has told us. Like, and I believe it.
And Frazier Patterson, thoughts on Taysom Hill? Come on, New Orleans. Let's go.
No.
What do you got? You have no thoughts? No feelings?
No, I don't want any part of Taysom Hill. His usage was fluky. He's not running enough routes. He breaks off one long run, and everybody's like, oh, what about Taysom at tight end? And I'm like, no. And Taysom's going to go out and score 1 point next week, and you're going to say, oh, why did I grab Taysom Hill? Don't do that. Don't waste your fab on Taysom Hill.
How about Patrick Simino everyone just wants thoughts. Thoughts on DeAndre Carter. Do you have thoughts on DeAndre Carter?
I do have thoughts on DeAndre Carter. DeAndre Carter, if you're in a deep league, I'm saying that you need to be picking him up immediately.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Why? Tell all the kids why out there.
So he ran 70% of his routes out of the slot last week for the Chargers. I think he is going to take over the slot role. I think Palmer and Big Mike are going to be running on the outside. And if that's the case, DeAndre Carter's actually been pretty decent. Like, he's like, if we're going to go dollar store versions, Isaiah McKenzie, whenever he has gotten run. So I look back over the last 2 years in the 4 games where he's run 25 or more routes, he's posted yards per route run numbers in 3 of those 4 over 1.7. And just for the people listening at home, that's a pretty good mark. So I think that if he's going to be the slot wide receiver this week, he's actually one of the guys that if you're in a deeper league, go pick him up.
Corey Price asks a very dangerous question with me on a live show. Do you panic and abandon ship from the Iron Throne of Tom Brady? You just combined 2 of my favorite things, Game of Thrones and Tom Brady.
Joe, I'll let you. I'm just going to sit back and listen to this. This is a lot to be very nice.
Bro. I mean, look at him.
Oh, you made him go pull out the fuck.
I want you to tell him to his face. Tell him to his face you're dropping him. Tell him all the championships. Tell Tom Brady you're dropping him. For what? What are you going to drop for? Marcus Mariota? For Davis Mills? Tom Brady? What are you dropping? What are you going to do? Who are you dropping him for? Cooper Rush? What are you
have
doing?
Respect. Speak to that man's face. Come on.
All right, but let's be realistic. I'll entertain for a moment. Again, I'll entertain this for a moment. Okay, maybe, just maybe, this is finally the year where it all catches up. Okay, fine. But what does that mean? Then we're into that tier maybe of Matt Ryan, where, I mean, if Kirk Cousins is on the waiver wire and you're panicked, yes. If you're in a 10-team league, I will say this. If you're in a 10-team league and Kirk Cousins is on the waiver wire or Derek Carr's on the waiver wire, pick him up just to hedge your bets a little bit. I got no issue with that. That's fine. That's just being a good fantasy player. If you're in a 12-team league, now Dak is out. Now you're fighting with other people too on the waiver wire. Is this how you want to spend your fab? Is this how you want to spend your day? Is this what you want to do? It's Tom Brady. You made an investment in Tom Brady. You hope that it continues on. It was the first game. Do you remember seeing Tom Brady at practice or in the preseason much? No. So he's got to work off some kinks a little bit. But it wasn't all on him either. Let's be honest.
They were
it's not like the
beating
corners
the
don't have their
tar out of the
moments.
Cowboys. They didn't
And the
have
Cowboys
to throw
D
the
has their
ball.
moments, dude. Micah
Yeah.
Parsons is a great player, you know?
Yeah.
He was good. He looked great in that game. My God.
Yep.
He's a menace to society. So, all right. I didn't think we'd get to a bro, but we did. Florian K. Should I drop Renfro or Lockett in order to get Curtis Samuel and Landry? I don't think dropping Renfro is a wise thing. Tyler
No.
Lockett. I mean, are we
Lockett
there
you can.
already? You can already? You're done?
Yeah.
It's over? For which one?
I mean,
Landry or Samuel?
Actually either. I'm fine with it because I look at all three of those guys are in the same kind of tier, that wide receiver 3 tier, and then we're just going to kind of come down to quarterback play, and I think that Winston and Wentz are better than Geno, so that's where we sit.
You use a lot of logic, and you give me pause.
I try sometimes.
I just feel like you're going to drop Lockett, and then he'll have a good game this week, and then you're going to pick him
and then
up,
you pick him back up, and then he has a crappy game, and you drop him again. You pick it back. No,
I guess here's my
drop him,
answer.
you'll be fine.
I don't, none of the above. That's my answer. Like I don't like any of these guys. I would package them right
Even
now.
Landry? Really?
Landry's
Okay.
fine. It's
Okay.
good.
All right.
It's fine.
Okay.
Shocking
Disrespect, I get it.
Shocking Awe wants to know how much fab on Julio, please. Let's say we have all of it to start. Let's say there's $100 of fab. What's the percentage you're putting on him?
20%.
I was thinking about 18 to 22. So that was the
Yeah,
look,
20 to 25, depending on your league. Like I think Julio is a low end 2, high end 3, because the Buccaneers are idiots and they push Godwin back too fast. He should have never been active for that game.
Dude, I was so mad.
Stupid.
So mad.
Stupid.
And that's why I didn't. And you know, Godwin's probably the guy pushing. Let's be honest. Like these guys, you know, they want to play.
I get that, but like
the organization has to step in and say, "Hey."
Dumb.
That's why I don't want to blame the Bucks because you know you want to support your players. The players, say, I'm good, coach. I want to go in, and then you have another injury because of the other.
Yeah, but the same thing as like a manager taking out a pitcher like during a no hitter when he's throwing 130 pitches. Like,
right?
Okay, eventually you got to save guys from themselves.
Manage the season.
You know?
Manage the season. I'll say this: we talked about that 6 weeks of fab. 6 weeks of fab, Julio Jones can possibly be a big help in the 6 weeks. I like the early signs of, and once again, I have to give Matthew Friedman a little credit here, which
Julio
is
looked
not my
good.
favorite. I had to give Erickson credit this morning and then Friedman credit here. What's the world coming to? Arrhythmia Beats. This is a great name. Arrhythmia Beats. James Robinson is on waivers. Do I go for him or Rex Burkhead? I mean, Robinson, right?
Robinson. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Jay Strafford, should I pick up Justin Fields or Winston to replace Dak? Those are two decent options. Which way are you going here? Fields or Winston? I think I want the rushing equity of Fields. But what do you think?
I want Fields. I think the rushing equity gives you a similar weekly floor, but I think Fields still has the ceiling.
All right, Corey Price says, no one ever talks about defenses. Steelers defense is available in a lot of leagues. Can it sustain this level? Corey, I just talked about defenses quite a bit, so I hope I answered your question.
We just talked about them, yeah.
I just gave you a whole thing where I laid out, here's the 30-second recap. No TJ Watt, no pressure, less mistakes by the quarterback, less fantasy points. So you're not getting the sacks.
There you go.
You're not getting the interceptions necessarily. I'm not saying the Steelers defense doesn't have good players. They do. But TJ Watt is the straw that serves that drink. And now it tastes like, I don't know, like lukewarm milk. Hayes Token Misfit. Drop Pickens for Curtis Samuel. Are we ready to drop George Pickens for Curtis Samuel?
Yes.
I agree.
I was never there on Pickens.
Lance Shorter. Is Wentz for real?
I don't know if he's for real, but he's probably going to be streamer worthy this year.
It was
at least
the Jags, but is he for real?
I get it.
I think
but
he's more
their
DFS
pass rate
on DK. You know, like you want that cheap QB on DK. Maybe that's where it is. But I don't know if I'm there in season long.
Their pass rate over expected was extremely high. And I mean, yeah, I can't say that he's. Do I think he's for real that he's going to throw for 4 scores and 300 every single week?
4 scores in 7 years ago.
Yeah, when Carson Wentz was actually good. No.
Remember when I remember a time, this is going to go member berries, where all anybody could talk about was Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz taking over the NFL. Remember that window, that season where they were both just doing it? They're like, oh, these are the two new quarterbacks that are going to take us into the next. Was that 2016?
That was around the time when Jameis Winston was a top 3 dynasty quarterback. I remember when.
Yeah. Was that 2017? Now I'm thinking it's 2017, right? Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Good times. Jared Hill, thoughts on Aaron Jones? He was crazy hyped, but didn't show up. Well, I'm team AJ Dillon from the get. You know that. Aaron Jones.
I wasn't crazy hyping him.
I don't think you should panic, do you?
No, you hold him. What you hold him. Like, you're
You
not
hold
doing
him.
anything with Aaron
You
Jones.
buy
Like,
low, but you hold
yeah,
him.
you
I
could
mean,
buy
that whole
low. I mean, that's fine. I think that he's still going to get a crap ton of usage. Aaron Rodgers' spite knows no boundaries. What Christian Watson drops
Aaron
one deep
Rodgers got the
pass.
crap beat out of him in that game. By the
He
way, I
deserved to
watched
lose
that
that
game.
game.
That was,
After you go back to your wide receivers and you're going to play
but that's
captain check down the
but
rest of the game.
I
It's like,
swear
whatever, man.
that was literally something we talked about on the pod,
Yeah.
word for word in July and probably in August once or twice, which is what happens when this happens. Well, that's what the fear, that was the danger, and we saw it on full display. I'll tell you what, I am going to buy all the Allen Lazard I didn't already have because that's the only guy Aaron Rodgers likes. I can tell you right now. Albert L., what's your take on Dontrell Hilliard? Church yesterday was high on Hilliard. I'm less so, but I understand the point he
Same.
makes there. I think this is only a very deep ad at the most. I'm not quite there with Hilliard. Are you?
Yeah, I'll say this. I understand Charch's points yesterday, and people need to go listen to them on the
There's
podcast.
good points.
They're good points. The other flip side of that coin is I don't think that Hilliard's weekly usage, even if he is going to be the preferred passing down back, you're talking about the preferred passing down back on a team that's going to run the ball at a top 5 clip in the NFL.
Mhm.
Is it still really a role that you want where he got 2 touchdowns based off of what was it, Joe? 2 targets? Yeah, I'm not chasing that. I'm going to put him in the Devin Duvernay fluke category.
All right. The one thing you might want to chase is a DJ Moore autographed jersey, thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction. Carolina Panthers own DJ Moore. This jersey can be yours. You have to be a subscriber of Fantasy Pros. You have to drop a comment in the chat just like that. Boom, bang, pow. You are in the running for a DJ Moore autographed jersey.
Episode.
And you got to turn on the notifications too, so you know if you won. So click the little bell till it goes ding, and you'll get alerted when new episodes are up, and you can claim your prize. And what a beautiful prize it is. This is a very important question because this has happened for a lot of people out there. I guarantee you this is a scenario in 75% of leagues, right? It's the sharp leagues where Jeff Wilson was already rostered. You know, when you're playing with guys like me. S&M, $100 of fab. How much do you pay for Jeff Wilson? I just lost Eli Mitchell. See, that's the player where you have to be more aggressive, right? D, because you're the team that had Eli Mitchell, you've got to cover your now, you got to cover your insurance for later. To me, whatever, like if your number was 20% for him, it's got to be closer to 30 almost, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, the first number that jumped into my head was 35%. Go get him.
Okay, there you go. So just do it. Just do it. Yep. Because if Eli Mitchell was your 2, especially if you don't like what you got on the bench, then it's definitely 35. If you love the bench, maybe you get away with 30. But if it's a sharp league, be careful.
Even if you don't believe in Jeff Wilson, again, like I think that the Henderson corollary is still real here. Pay the fab, then float him in offers. Go get yourself another running back if you don't believe in Jeff Wilson because he's going to hold value.
Oh, good. More Marcus Mariota questions. Jeff B. from Tulsa. Super flex league. Marcus Mariota or Geno Smith. You might have found the one guy where I'm actually going to be on Mariota. Still.
Joe, if you were to say Geno Smith, I swear I'm going to have to walk away from this desk.
I have some couth. Just not enough. Al Pal. Trade question. Would you rather have CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown? We actually asked this question on the show today too. I was fascinated by the answer. What's your answer? CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown? I kind of got to go Amon-Ra.
Sun God, baby. Sun God.
You know what's funny? This is another thing too we talked about on the pod for the last month or so, which was the lack of love for Amon-Ra St. Brown, lack of respect.
We did.
And that dude just picked up right where he left off. And we're all looking and going, what a value Amon-Ra St. Brown has become. It's unbelievable.
Joe, didn't we talk about him on, I think it was like Upside Plays or League Winners, one of those
League Winners.
And
League Winners. We said Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Amon-Ra just could be that damn dude. Like he could be that dude.
The lazy analysis of it was only because Hawkinson was out and this guy was out and Swift was out. That's the only reason. I don't think the only reason could sustain for 8 weeks. Like it was so many weeks. That's my problem.
And start over on week 1 with
if you told me it lasted
healthy?
for 3 weeks, I would have agreed with you. But when you see that kind of volume and you're catching that many balls consistently, he's not dropping the balls, he's catching those balls, man.
So I will say, if you go check the receipts, my early offseason stuff was I was out on Amon-Ra for the same reasons that everybody else was saying. once I dove into his data and how he commanded targets, how elite he was efficiency wise on those targets, I made a total
Yeah, I
180, and I
remember
was
that.
like, this is wrong. This
You're
is
right.
wrong.
You did have your moment where you came to in
Yeah.
August for sure. I remember
I'll
that.
own it. But I mean, like, the more information and the deeper you go on these players, we have to be willing to sit here and change our perceptions on players instead of saying, okay, time to dig the hole deeper and just go into take lock season. Can't do that.
David Bollinger drop Skyy Moore. Are we there yet? I mean, to some of these, like Curtis Samuel and those guys, I think you can. I mean, this is a tricky one.
Out there.
Let's say Landry and Samuel are out there because they're out there in 80% of leagues.
Yeah, you do. The usage is not there. And I'm sorry. Again, we're going to talk about owning L's. Like, Skyy Moore only ran 7 routes last week.
I think eventually he will show up, but
he will show up, but the question is when, and it might take an injury at this point. So as painful it is to say, and as much love as I have for Skyy Moore, yeah, you got to go with usage right now.
In a shallow league too, you can. Like I'm not out on Skyy Moore yet after 1 week, but the question is there something on the waiver wire can help you win next 2 weeks that can help you win more than Skyy Moore? Samuel probably can. Landry probably can. I wager to say maybe Robbie Anderson can. I know you want to make fun of me on that one, but like Baker Mayfield's he's an enigma. Howard Pabst, what do we think about some of the rookies week 1? Drake London, Skyy Moore, Treylon Burks. Burks in the limited moments where I saw him actually looked pretty good, and Robert Woods did not look like he was on the same page with Ryan Tannehill. I think Burks is another fascinating buy low right now, but I know you love London. We just talked about Moore. What are your thoughts on Burks and London? Let's get some takes from you on that.
So Burks, I think if you have the room to stash him, and you're not going to be stashing Burks over players where we're seeing usage, he's really just a lottery ticket because his routes per dropback were not high enough to even consider him right now as far as like a starting spot or anything. People could talk about targets per route run. He's not going to run that many routes, even in a full-time role for the Titans as a pass-heavy team. I don't hate him as an upside stash, but I'm not going to take him over other guys that we're seeing usage from right now. Now, London looked exactly like I tell everybody. He looked like that dude. He tied for the team lead in targets. Tough matchup. He got 6 grabs or 5 or 6 grabs for 74 yards. Yeah, he looked like that guy. He absolutely looked like that guy. I would be grabbing London wherever you can.
Diana L, are you worried about Travis Etienne? I am not. He hasn't played football in a year.
No.
Come on, it's way too early to panic.
It's 1 week. It's 1 week, and here's the thing: if we think
he had more opportunities, you could have taken advantage of. Let's not forget that. Like,
I think, what did he drop, Joe? Like 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I was gonna say at least one.
If he comes down with one of those, hell, if he comes down with 2 of those, this is not even a conversation.
So, he comes down with 2 of those. All we're talking about is Travis Etienne victory laps all over the place. But
to the moon.
In fact, this is the best opportunity, I think, because in those leagues where you didn't get him, this is your window to get Travis Etienne on your team. Go do it. Noah, drop Pierce for Wilson or Samuel. You can drop Dameon Pierce for those guys yet? That, to me, I think is an overreaction.
That's an overreaction.
Yeah. Drago, should I trade Alvin Kamara? Well, it depends on what you're trading him for. Bro, what's your trade value there for him?
All right. And not to drag Drago here, but I hate these questions. Put it this way. It all depends on what your offers are. It all depends on what your offers are. We can't give you these vacuum answers for would you trade him? What are you trading him for? Like, put them out there. See what you get.
This is what you do. For those of you who don't have it already, get my playbook, fantasypros.com/myplaybook, because there's a trade analyzer tool, a trade finder tool. So if you have some things you can plug in, you can see what the value is of Alvin Kamara. Also on my playbook, you can use the trade finder, which will look for trades that will benefit you for Alvin Kamara. So this is why you have the tools at Fantasy Pros. So go check them out. fantasypros.com/myplaybook. The trade analyzer, the trade finder are both out there. So is the waiver assistant as well to help you out with all of those kind of things. So it's not about should I trade this player? It's about what you can get back. And if you can get back a good value and use the tools to help you out or present us some names, we can help you out a little bit more. Mr. Finessa, thoughts on Dawson Knox? I think we all have the same feeling about Dawson Knox. There'll be a couple touchdowns here and there, but I mean, you're just throwing darts at a board, right?
I was lower on Dawson Knox. I didn't
You
have
were.
him inside my top 12 tight ends for the year. He wasn't inside my top 12 tight ends for week 1. I am still out on Dawson Knox. I'm glad the man got the bag, but I'm not playing him in fantasy right now.
Mr. Finessa. We already did that one. Sorry about CB. Drop Davante Parker. This one's a little trickier for me because it was a
Depends.
bad first week. I would be a little bit more patient. If you really like Curtis Samuel, okay. But outside of that, I don't know. I think there's like
Depends your
Jeffrey
options.
Wilson, yes. Brian Robinson, absolutely yes. But the rest of those guys, I don't know. I think
Okay, would you drop Parker for Jaylen Warren? Because I would.
if I had Najee Harris, yes, for sure.
If you don't have Najee.
If I was short at RB, also yes, I would. Like
Even
if
if you're
my
not
RB room
short.
is bad, well, I keep kind of reminding everybody like D'Angelo Williams, James Conner. This is a factory over there, and it's been a factory for many, many years. Just like it's a wide receiver factory for many, many years. Like it's gonna be like that. It's a little
Bell
different
Cow
now.
City.
Yeah, it's a little different without a real quarterback, but we'll see. Michael Amato, thoughts on Eno Benjamin as a stash? Like, I could get it as a stash, but right now there's things on the waiver wire that help you. So, like, I wouldn't be.
There are better stashes out there. Michael, go for better stashes. Hop in our Fantasy Pros Discord and let's discuss those stashes. Let's talk about your league. Let's talk about what's out there and let's help you out a little bit better because I'm not really feeling Eno. I feel like it's a trap, man.
All right, I want to thank
James
our producer.
Conner, before they got blown out real fast, Joe, James Conner played 96% of the snaps. So people do not understand. This also leads to James Conner as a fantastic buy low. Go get him.
Now, this is the dangerous part here because our fantastic producer, Chris, this is about the time where we're wrapping things up here. He's decided to, I don't know, step out for a burger. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he's getting a drink, going to the bathroom. I don't know. But I think he's slowly walking back. But we are going to call it a day here. Once again, if you haven't already, subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel, youtube.com/fantasypros. Click that little bell till it goes ding. That's right. You know it. You know what to say. And like the video here. If you've been watching, you had fun talking football, we helped you out. Give us a like over here. Don't drop Tom Brady. Look at him. He's so adorable. You can't drop Tom Brady. What a crazy thing. Come on now. Come on. Let's go. If anything, go throw some trade offers out on Tom Brady. I think it'll be okay. It'll be all right. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Derek Brown, I'm Joey P. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody.